Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hey, Rose. You got to feed yourself first tonight. That's good. That's good. We are good here. Busy night. So we also do track now, at least once a week for the kiddos. So we get back pretty late before stream. So I tend to be throwing things together last second, but it's good. It's good. I cannot complain. Oh, Kung Fu class. That's super cool as well. Holy moly, I didn't even know. But yeah, I'm glad you got to feed yourself first. For anybody watching, either recording or live, Rose is an amazing baker and chef. In fact, she has an entire newsletter, Instagram, website, blog, and cookbooks in the works, if I'm not mistaken. So when I say she's amazing, she can prove it. You should check out her site. Is it just Rose? Is it rosehuxfordlovestobake.com? Is that the URL, Rose? Oh, of course, man. Seriously. So that's the Gmail. Yeah, also on Instagram, just Rose Huxford likes to bake as well. Just also an incredible food photographer. Like, her recipes look amazing. Definitely check it out. 100%. That's the one. Yeah, rosehuxfordlovestobake.com. Absolutely. Can I do this? I've never done this before. I was gonna do the shout out command on here, but I think it just shouts out your Twitch account, which you don't bake on Twitch, so that wouldn't make much sense. But check out her socials, check out her website, sign up for the newsletter. Your taste buds and stomach will be happy that you did. That's what I have to say. But yeah, it's well, Rose, I'm so glad you could join us for a little bit tonight, and I am glad you got to feed yourself first. That's good. That's good. Gosh, yeah, let's just jump right into it. I think jump into warm-up tonight. As I could ramble for longer, and sometimes do, but let's get going. I'm excited to finish a piece and maybe even jump into something, a couple odds and ends on something new. Sorry, just getting my canvas set up for warm-up. So yeah, well, you came at a good point, by the way. We're finishing up a piece tonight, and then you've actually seen more. I've got a couple like small spot pieces I'm doing for our graphic novel that if we have time tonight, I'm gonna hop on those. So you actually have seen more of this than anybody here. But for warm up, we're gonna do our handy dandy Pokemon card warm up. So if you've been here before, you know the drill. I'm gonna pick one of these like 5 or 6 cards that I pre-screened, and that will be our quick 5-minute warm-up. So let's try you. All right, cool. We got Floragato is our card tonight. Floragato. It's a little blurry, but that's okay because I'm gonna get a reference photo up as well, which will make it a little easier to see. So let's go ahead and hop over to our Clip Studio Paint. I've got my canvas ready, and I'm just gonna pull over my reference image real quick. Okay. There we have it. All right. Floragato, the evolution of Sprigatito, the grass starter type, of course, for anyone who's played Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. If not, it's a cute grass kitty. This is a little bit less cute than its, base form, but that's all good. So the drill for warm-ups is we're going to do a 5-minute timer, and we're going to work on rough sketch first, then move to pencils where we tighten it up, pick those favorite lines. Now, for 5 minutes, that's about as far as I'm going to get at best. If it were to go exceptionally well, I would start on final lines, also known as inks. And then to finish things off, I would always go to flat colors, then shading, highlights, all that good stuff to kind of pretty it up. I will be getting there on the warm-up tonight, though. But I will go ahead and get our timer going. 5 minutes, and here we go. As always, everyone's welcome to draw along. I'm going to go ahead and label my layers in here. I could have done this before I started optimally, but it's okay. All right. And I like to choose, I'm going to saturate that a little bit. I like to choose a non-black color for my sketches and pencils just because it helps me keep it straight from the final lines and kind of carries over from the old habit of sketching in blue pencil when you're going to scan everything in later and turn it to black and white. So what I usually do for that is the blend tool and not the pencil. There we go. Very nice. What I usually do when I'm doing these warm-up sketches is I give myself a little bit of a decision-making cheat, if you will, by giving myself a constraint. And in general, I always draw them sleeping. One, because it's cute, and two, because then I'm not spending a huge amount of time out of my 5 minutes just trying to figure out, like, hey, what do I want to draw this Pokemon doing? I already know. And that's pretty nice. Okay, this is actually a pretty ginormous head for the pose that I'm thinking, so let's bring that down a little bit. This is the joys of working digitally, is that I can resize the entire thing pretty freely on the fly. So we're gonna get that line. So the body is a little bit more. Like that. Scooch this up just a wee bit. I'm going to shrink this down a tiny amount. So yeah, this seems like kind of a roguish type of Pokemon. So I'm going to have it kind of in a too cool for school situation going on. That looks okay. It's good so far. I am going to... Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. And what I'm doing here is I'm just gonna scooch this head up to make it a little bit bigger. Keep it a little more on the cute side. As you do. There we go, that's pretty good. So let's get those eyes in here. And again, this is a sketch, so really we're just working on kind of rough, big shapes. No detail is exactly where it'll probably end up, but we can get a little bit close. Got kind of this like brooch type thing going on. This leaf is like a scarf. Okay, that's pretty good. And these are like little boots. Just some cute little boots going on there. And then we'll draw the tail off kind of on the side here. Maybe it's kind of a smaller tail. There we go. Sorry, I just totally panic checked to see if I had actually, in fact, unmuted. But I did remember that I talked to Rose, so that's usually a good sign that someone else responded to my words. Not that I've ever forgotten to unmute for the first 5 to 10 minutes of stream or anything like that. you know, who does that? It's me. I do that. Okay. Proportions aren't 100% here, but this is a good coarse shape. I would probably draw it leaning against a tree, but I'm, in the interest of progress, going to actually skip to pencils just to start firming up these lines a little before our timer. Oh, well, there's the timer. So that was it. Okay. So, overall, pretty happy with this. Again, the goal is like not to get anywhere near a finished piece. And the more complicated the pose, the more complicated the Pokemon, the more it eats into my 5 minutes. But it's a good drill to try to get myself a little bit faster. And also just to loosen up the arm. Thanks, Rose. Loosen up the arm and wrist and get the old art brain thinking about stuff. And it's also nice because then if I ever decide I'm in the mood to finish a Pokemon piece, I can always come back. And I've got a whole library of warm-ups to choose from, which is a spectacular segue to our piece for tonight that we'll be finishing up, because that's exactly what this one was. This was a warm-up that we finished, or that I decided to come back in and start finishing up. This is clearly much further along. Yeah, so we're getting close. What I still had planned putting some more foliage kind of in the foreground here, and I'll probably give that a nice dark value to give the feeling of like you're kind of peeking out at Zorua from behind the foliage there. Oh, thank you, Rose. Yeah, I'm very happy with how this one came out. I actually decided to try something a little bit different with this one and use a thinner line for my inks layer and even a different brush, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I know usually I like a nice thick bold outline, but for this one it just felt right to go a little bit thinner. Yeah, so thank you. I am quite pleased so far. I was doing a little bit of extra shading too, I think. I hadn't gotten completely where I wanted to with the shading here. So let's pull that, and I'll just start laying down some of that extra shading on the Pokemon itself. Make sure I'm using the brush that I want. I am. Very good. Bring it down a little bit. So Rose, I was actually wondering, do you work digital at all, or are you entirely traditional mediums for your art? By the way, in addition to being an amazing baker and chef, Rose is also an incredible artist. I should note this, chat. In fact, you've done illustrations for, like, freelance illustration work for, is it a couple books now? Entirely traditional. Oh, thank you. Oh, hey Sona, how's it going? Welcome on in. I hope you're having a good night. Quite what I wanted. Nope. I'm gonna zoom that in just a touch. Well, Rose, if you're interested in going with digital, I'm doing well playing Fallout 76 with the husband. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying your gaming time. Very nice. That's exciting though, so that'll be another one out this year. That's awesome. Yeah, if you're interested in digital, I cannot recommend Clip Studio Paint enough, especially because if you catch them on a sale, you can get a perpetual license for a very reasonable price instead of, you know, basically renting the software from Adobe, as you would with Photoshop. And it does a whole lot of awesome stuff. Including animation, if you're so inclined to learn that whole side of it, which I dabble, but it's, you know, there's only so many hours in the day. Yeah, so oh, absolutely, I would be happy to share. And there's also so many incredible tutorials out there. Yeah, so did I already ask you about, like, how long have you been working in Clip Studio? Has it been a long time? A couple of years? Okay. That's a very solid amount of time. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like I see a lot of split between Adobe, Clip Studio, and Procreate, and those are kind of the big three right now for digital. Is it one of the easiest digital art programs to use? I think so. I think so. There may be a small amount of time of getting used to it, but what typically I've seen happen is that people will start by just getting familiar with, like, the basic functions that they need, and then there's a whole lot more that you can learn down the road if you want to. Okay, might round out some of these lighter shadows. Bigger blend tool there. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to sum it up, Sona. It looks daunting at first, but it's not bad once you just play around. Oh yeah, absolutely. Whether that's via coloring or, you know, you can also use it to, you know, you can do final lines like ink work over a sketch and stuff like that, if that's kind of what you'd rather do. Or just, yeah, clean it up and add color, things like that. I haven't done much of that side of it, but I know you can. I know there's some people who do have done entire graphic novels with, like, hand-drawn inks that they've gone in and then colored digitally. Yeah, make corrections and enhance it. Absolutely. And that's probably one of the best ways to get started as well, then, because you're like, if you're doing a bulk of the art in the way that's already familiar to you, and then kind of just finishing it. Yeah. I did not take a course. I'd used a few digital art programs before, so I kind of had an idea of how things worked. But most of it was just learning on the fly. And one of the cool things is that, again, Clip Studio, even within the app itself, there's like a landing program that you open up first before you launch Paint. And you can search there for all sorts of tutorials. So you kind of just like look up what you want to do, and then it's all there. Yeah, and then there's just a lot of playing with it. There are some really good courses. There's one, I wish I remembered the guy's name. I can tell you next critique group if I remember to look it up. But there's like one course that was like a pay what you think it's worth course. Like you could take it for, you know, sign up and take it for free. I think Brigida actually took that one as well. But there's definitely courses out there if you're interested as well. You don't have to just kind of jump in and try to figure out how to swim if that's not your preferred style, or if you don't have time for that. Yeah, and there's a 7-day free trial too if you're looking just to test out the program. Yeah, the only thing you can't do is save, which can be frustrating, to be fair. But yeah, of course, absolutely. I'm super happy with this program, so I'm happy to sing its praises. When in doubt, screenshot it. That's true. You can still do that. Okay, rounded that out a little bit. Might need to throw in a little more ground shadow to kind of anchor it down. Do another multiply layer there. And I'm kind of, I'm a little bit of a chicken when it comes to permanently editing layers. Like if something looks fairly good, I will usually try to find a way to create another layer and add on top of it instead of messing with the layer that I'm at least somewhat happy with. Which is why you're seeing like shadow 1, shadow 2 for me. So instead of just making a darker color, I would rather just add another layer that multiplies the same light color so that I can, if I decide I don't like it, I can just revert. Like this, right? So it's darker, but if I just want the light shadow, I can just do that. Feels like one of those nights where even though I did a little warm up, even though I've been drawing a bit more this week, or a bit this week at least, still feels like it's going to be a little bit of de-rust time. Actually, I think I like that being a bit of a harder shadow for now. That does anchor it a little better to the ground. And I will say, Rose, that's one of the things that I love working digitally is that I can be very cautious. You think so too? Cool, thank you. But yeah, when you work digitally, you can be very cautious, and you make a mistake, you can always undo, or you can do it on different layers so you don't lose anything. Which is probably one of the most daunting things about doing more involved traditional style art, to me at least. Okay, I'm gonna check the values again real quick. Okay. The midground with the Pokemon in it is gonna be probably the lightest value layer of it. And I'm trying to get the background a bit more towards the medium tones. You know, kind of separating out the midground, the foreground, and the background by value. I want the foreground, the very foreground will be a darker value, the midground will be light, and then the background will be kind of a middle values. But it's not quite there yet in that background. So what? Now I could duplicate this, this multiply layer, which would darken things up a bit. And the airbrushed one too. So if I do that, are we doing better? We are doing a little better. Okay. Alright, I think I'm ready to start playing around with the foreground plants then. So we'll do a vector layer here, and I used is this the textured one that I used? I think so. Although also, I kind of wanted them to be a little blurred and out of focus. So maybe we'll try something even a little bit more different. Where's the palette I'm looking for? There? Yeah, you. Okay. The worst is when you accidentally line on the sketch layer. Not easy to read it. Yeah, especially if when you've gotten really far into it. Oh my gosh. I've done that plenty of times. Although usually I think more often I will color or shade on the wrong layer, and can kind of fudge it. But yeah. But what I do end up usually just redoing it when I do that, because it's just like there's not a great way. Oh, I did not use. Okay, let's see. Right. Fascinating. There we go. I can do that better probably. All right. You know what? We can do a little more stabilization. It's all good. Better. That is another great thing about vector layers is you can just go in and do that. And then also, if you still have a few little jitters, you can just take them out. Eee. Just tweak a couple of these because it is right there in the foreground. So I just don't want the shape to be jarring or distracting in any way. Okay, that's all right. Jittery. Come on. just... Okay. Just hide you for a second. Okay. Label you. Okay. I can probably turn you back on. Then I'm gonna set my reference layer this time. Now the hue that I want and the saturation that I want are about this. Oopsie daisies. When you don't quite tap exactly where you meant to. Okay, and what I'm probably gonna do, I think I can add a correction layer in here. Okay, it's a start. I don't know if that's the brush that I want though. It's so textured on the other layers. Maybe we'll just, you know, try it the other way and see how we feel. Subtool, we'll do the textured pen. I'll bring up the size. That's too much. And maybe I will turn off that just so it's a little easier. Okay. And then it's like I might just blur this whole layer anyway. I don't know. I do think I like that brush better though, the textured one. Maybe I'll give these more of a point to them as well. There we go. Something like that. Okay. So now you will be the reference layer. Okay. And I will clear you. question is, can I mask this layer too? I should be able to. Nope. Oh, I'm so glad you're able to make it for a little bit, Rose. Thanks for coming by. It was fun hanging out. Have a good rest of your night, and yeah, we'll see you at the next meeting. Rose is in our critique group, so we get to chat with Rose every month at least. Good night. Okay, I'm just gonna check values. Okay, I like the separation so far. Will it let me try to blur? No, it will not. Okay, so I will duplicate you and I will rasterize you. Because then we can Gaussian blur you. Oh, silly. That's why. Because I had the original one still on. Maybe, but I do need to make sure I fill in underneath in the flats. So let's do that. Go back to my regular G pen here, handy dandy. Now I could have used like an area fill to kind of make sure that I was getting underneath all my lines a bit more. There's a lot of little tricks you can do in Clip Studio. And usually it gets pretty far under, but these lines are fairly thin, and I'm wondering, compared to what I usually draw, so I'm wondering if that's why things are operating a little differently than I'm used to. Okay, so duplicate you again. You are not a reference layer, and you are not a reference layer. Okay, let's try this blur again, huh? Yeah. I do see a little more. I can fill in underneath here. Also, there's not snow on those, so maybe I should have dusted them with a little bit of snow, and some lighting would also be good. Okay. So many hours spent wandering around Balam Garden back in my younger days. Oh, that makes me sound really old. I swear I'm not. I wonder if I could do something similar in the background lines. Duplicate, rasterize. And do like that. I do see, yeah, you get a little bit of the sharp edge. Oh, but you know what? If I did, there we go. brain not working for a second. It's fine. It's fine. I could give them a gentle blur as well. And just kind of rinse and repeat. That might be a bit too soft on it. I'm not sure that's what I want. That's okay. That is okay. What I might want to do is add a little bit of a lighting layer in here. Not a whole lot. I don't think it needs to be too heavy of a touch, but I do like to add a little bit. And I like to do that with a fairly light yellow. Since my shadows are slightly purple, it can be kind of a cool separation when you get the highlights and shadows in complementary colors. So let's do this. I'm gonna try add glow. That's gonna be too intense. I should do a hard light or soft light. We'll try hard light first. That's not going to show up. But what happens if you add glow? Sometimes it's worthwhile just to play with your different lighting options. Yeah, I think those were all going to be too intense, you know. Usually a little bit of highlight can add some depth. I think it's interesting with the white highlights of fur, they don't show up that well, so it's a little trickier. But I'll play with it, and I can always just not use the layer if I don't feel like it adds anything. I guess I got on this one for coloring Zorua because I was thinking about how I wanted to shade the plants in the foreground a little bit. But I decided to come and mess with this instead of deciding whether I wanted to draw snow or not. Because, you know, sometimes you put off decisions. Yeah, I could soften this up a little too. Maybe a little bit more bright, like through here. That's gonna overfill. No, that will not overfill. That will underfill. Something like that, and then smooth it out nice and heavily. Shape to that face and the feeling of the light hitting it from that angle. Maybe that might be too much. Yeah, the sky does not make for that direct of light. Okay. It was worth a shot. It doesn't feel like it quite fits. Alright, so let's do a little bit more. We'll just do some highlights, especially in the dark reds here. It gives a little better. Better sense of texture, but we don't need to go crazy with it anywhere. Whoopsie daisy. That's not. That's not the pen tool. Goodness gracious. Okay, I think that's good. I think I can stop messing around with the Zorua layer, and I should actually just focus on getting some of these foreground layers done, because really, we're very close on this piece. If I add a little bit of shadow here over top of the flat colors, but underneath the correction layer, that will darken them further. I guess the real question is, do I want to add snow on top? Because if I'm gonna do that, I need to do that in the lines and then reblur and do all that. So maybe let's figure that out before I start messing with too much more. Because then also this whole flat color layer is gonna change. All right. I can get back this blur. I'm gonna get rid. Well, I'll wait till I'm done with the next lines. But we'll bring these in, the textured ones, and we'll bring this. I do want the black. I know the background lines I kept pretty light, and that was very much intentional. And all right, you know what? I'm realizing I need to use the bathroom anyway. I'm gonna go do that real quick. We'll take a quick break because it's already 11 o'clock anyway. So let's go to be right back, and I'm gonna take like a 3-ish minute break, and I'll be right back, and we'll wrap this up. I think we're doing pretty well. I think we can finish this tonight, and it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, I will see you guys in a few. All right, hey, we're back. That was a nice break. Hope you had a good one too. Now let's get on to finishing this guy, huh? All right. So, feel like, you know, to match the plants in the background and because it makes sense for where they are, there should be a little bit of snow on these foreground plants. So we're gonna take care of that right now. Bring down the brush size a little bit for kind of a detailed addition. I'll just kind of give a nice little base to the snow here. Nope. Too much, Geoff, too much. If I close that, I should be able to erase that. Okay, good. Good, good. Too much. Can I erase you right there? Maybe. Close that up. All right. All right. So you are still with the Zorua lines as the reference layer. So let's just set you to the reference layer. Maybe behave a little more nicely while I'm trying to clear stuff up. A little bit of a divot in the snow from where the like center stem line of the leaves are. Too much. Maybe if you made it use a smaller brush size, that would work. There we go. Okay. Now, yeah, maybe if I color the snow a little bit darker anyway. Okay, well, we'll make this work. We'll make this work. Okay. I realize this does take away some of the real nice dark values that I had on here. So let's see what we can do about that. Nope. I mean, that's interesting. Okay. I did not expect it to look so green. What am I doing? I'm not changing the hue in this layer at all. Just out of curiosity. Okay, that's just a gray. That's all that is. I was like, it's just a gray that looks green because it's so adjacent to a green. Okay. So what if I use... Okay. I feel like that makes it a lot clearer. Good to note. It's so interesting what our eyes do with colors sometimes. In terms of how we take contextual color and colors that on a blank palette would look one way, look completely different when you've now put them next to something else. I mean, this is of course the way that color palettes work, but it's still so fascinating to me sometimes what our brains will actually do in that space. I think that was one of the coolest things when I did like a little bit of coursework in graphic design, learning about Gestalt theory and like all the little like shortcuts and tricks that our brains will just like completely fill in stuff for us, and how you can use all of that in design to communicate things. We didn't do like a lot of practical work on it in the course, but it was just really interesting. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. No, I just wanted the color from the layer. Why did you pick? Fascinating. So when you use an adjustment layer, it apparently makes it that color. Okay. I learned something today. That one got away from me. Get a little under you there and there and there. And really, I just want to try to get a little bit more under the edges here so that when I rasterize and blur these lines, it makes sense. It doesn't look like there's weird holes in the blur, which makes very little sense when you think about it. Not with a goal of everything being photorealistic, but rather with a goal of things not having anything be kind of like catching your eye in a bad way and making it jarring. It suddenly pulls you out of what you're looking at. What is this track? I know this song. Terra, interesting. I could have sworn it was from 9, but I was not correct. Oh, Terra is a place in Final Fantasy IX. Duh. That's right. It's not only about the character. Okay. Yeah. Fill these guys in. You would think that maybe when I went back into this second time, I'd mess with my tool settings and add area scaling or fill to vector path or something like that. But no, I didn't do that. It's all good. To be fair, it is not fast doing it this way, but it is very zen. It's very soothing. You know, you want to just come in and do something, but at the same time, just kind of turn off that brain a little bit. good activity for that. Okay. Again, it doesn't need to be perfectly crisp. It just needs to not be weird when I blur the lines. Okay, so now I feel good about deleting you and deleting you and duplicating you and rasterizing you. And then blurring. Again, I like to do the whole non-destructive editing whenever possible, just in case I later am like, oh, I don't really like what I did there, and I want to change it. Whoopsie daisy, turn these guys off, hey? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, hey. We just turned off the layers there. That's like a 15 on the blur. Is that too much? I think that's actually pretty good. The colors seem okay there, but I do need to do the white filling, like a little under the gaps there. So let's go do that. Doing that so I can color select whitish, purplish. You know what I mean. And now I can turn that back on so I can see it even better. So oops. So I might do like a light blur here, but keep it a little more intact. Just to hide a little bit. How does that even look? I didn't want it to be quite that clear. Just gonna put a 2 next to it and assume that that's gonna remind me that I actually wanted that layer there. That's good. I still can touch this up a little bit, but also if I just, okay. I believe I know what I need to do here. Oops. So, just trying to cover up any gaps here. And then what I think I'll do is I'll just blur the flat colors layer here too. Yeah. Oops, that was too much. Don't you hate it when you try to do too much in like one stroke and then you're at the very end, your hand's like, I'm gonna ruin it all. Yeah, me neither. I don't know. It's late night Geoff. It's Geoff beyond hours of serviceable conversation. Man, where's Janos when you want to do the did that you didn't do that you did do that you don't do? I think I've managed to successfully replicate that. Okay. That's not actually horrible the way it is, honestly, but it can be even better. Let me turn you back off. There you go, because I saw you needed fixing, and you needed fixing. Also, you and not you. Cool. Anybody here? We're all pretty good here. Okay. Now, blur. And I should be able to blur this, and I think this will fix. It'll get everything more in line. I did like a 15 blur on that one line. Excuse me. 13 should be reasonable. Yeah, that is exactly what I wanted to happen. Great. All right. Well, smiley day. Okay. I did want to add a little bit of shadow, which will also have to get blurred. But we'll get there. Maybe what I should do, maybe I should just turn these clearer lines on for a second, just to see what I'm doing, you know? Just to see what I'm doing. Is this 10 too? 10. Ugh. Just tears. Just tears. No big deal. That's too much. So yeah, I'll blur the shadows and I'll blur the lines again, but this is kind of what'll be the end effect of it, is giving a little bit of depth in there and also keeping that value nice and low, so we can kind of still work on getting some of that foreground, midground, background separation by values. Which is something that I usually forget is very useful in a standalone illustration piece, but I'm working on it. Actually, there was a super good webinar. Oh my gosh, this was like, would have been now like 3.5 years ago or so. I saw it with Kirby Fagan, and she did such a good job breaking it down, how to really use value in your pieces. And I am very thankful to have attended that one because it made me aware of it and how I was using and or not using it. And definitely I am making these shadows in the snow uneven intentionally to drive home this is snow, and it's not always just gonna sit nicely and evenly, you know? Yeah, it's funny, several times this week when opening up Clip Studio Paint, I would see the thumbnail for this piece, since it was one of the more recent ones I've been working on. And like, wow, that looks really good. I'm pretty much done with that, right? But I do think this is a great example of where sometimes, I mean, yes, it's absolutely 100% possible to overdo a piece. But also sometimes if you just stick with the piece and keep on layering on bits here and there, it's amazing how much the final piece can really pop. Once you've just invested like that effort, that extra effort to get it a little bit further. Bye, Sona. Thanks for stopping by. It was good talking to you. Thanks for thanks for hanging out. Have a good dinner and a good rest of your night. You know, it's really fun. I don't think I realized I knew quite what to expect when I decided to start streaming. Like, I didn't really have any idea who my audience was specifically going to be. Any of that, right? And a majority, I feel like, of the people that have come into stream are other artists. And it's been so cool getting the chance to, like, chat with them. And the feedback and the encouragement, it's just really great. I don't know what I expected, but it's been a really positive experience. That was pretty awesome, especially when you hear about how horrible the internet can be and you get to experience something that is in fact not horrible firsthand. It's just real nice. Okay, so just gonna do this whole thing again where we duplicate the layer and we blur it. And if I did a pretty good job, it'll all look like it goes together nicely, you know? Pretty good. I do think we still need a little bit of highlight on this. And I'm going to do that over the value correction layer, but under the lines. And we'll do that on a, try soft light. Try soft light. Maybe I'll even do a cool color. I liked the worm. We'll try the worm. I should just do this with the actual lines and not try to do this with yeah, not try to do it with the blurred lines and guess where they are, but rather use the real lines that I've drawn. well, I'll leave it 100% because I'm going to duplicate it and blur it. That's what, whoopsie. What do you mean 50 Gaussian blur is too much? Excuse me. I'd even blur it more just to give it a little bit more of a diffuse, glowy feel. Let's just see. Let's just see. Add glow might be too much there. Glow dodge also probably too much, but I could maybe do hard light. Maybe. Soft light's fine. So what I did here is I used the layer color function to just change the entire expression color of this layer into a cooler highlight. I liked the light, the warmth of the yellow, but even though it complemented everything well, it didn't make any sense. It caught my eyes seeming strange, at least. So going with a cooler light on it felt like it made a little more sense. And we do get the warm colors from Zorua, and so maybe if we keep it that way, it keeps the focus on the subject. So let's do our value check. Okay. Okay. I feel like we've got a pretty solid foreground in the darker values. The midground is in the lightest values in this case, and then the background is in the more medium value area. So I feel okay about this. I'm not by any means an expert on value, but I feel like we've got kind of the main idea of it here. Okay, save your work, always and every time. Okay, all right. All right, so we're sitting here at like 11:40 right now. I'm pretty happy with this one, with where we've landed on this one. I could play with the background a bit more, try to add some sort of like a little bit of a blur, or even do like a blurred layer with a mask and mess with the mask to try to give that a little more specifically that depth of field feeling. To match the foreground, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with this. Oh, you know what I could do though? I could do some layer comps here and play around with that if I wanted to compare the blurred foreground versus the non-blurred foreground. So let's do layer comps. Like that, okay. We'll call it crisp foreground. I don't know if this is actually even showing up. This is a separate window. So I brought up Clip Studio's layer comps panel here. You can't see it right now. But essentially what this lets me do is load up a set of layers that are turned on all at once. And I can very neatly toggle in between two different, like any not just two, any number that I've defined of sets of layer settings, so that if I want to just quickly toggle back and forth instead of having to turn on and off all these layers, I can just do it really quickly. So what I'm gonna do is turn off the blurred lines, turn on the regular lines, turn off the blurred highlights, turn on the regular highlights, turn off the blurred shadows, turn on the regular shadows, and turn off the blurred flat colors and turn on the regular. Save it like that. And now I can just very quickly switch between. And you do notice that I need to change my expression color on the highlights if I want it to truly match. So let's do that. My layer color, I guess. There we have it. All right, cool. Cool. So yeah, if I just want to switch back and forth, I can. I find that very handy indeed. Honestly, the crisp one isn't bad either. Well, now that I'm looking at it closely. Hard to choose. Maybe I like this one. I don't know. Well, I'll think of it. I'll think on it. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with this piece yet. I can throw it on Instagram. Maybe this is something that'll make it to our Etsy store in the future. At the very least, I could make a magnet of this little guy, but maybe even a print at some point. We'll see. I am really happy with how this one came out. So, all right. So where are we at? Usually I go till about midnight. I could cut early, but I could do a little bit more. Let's do this. Let's do this. I know what I want to do. I'm gonna take a second and get it set up. If you'll just excuse me, so I'll just be hanging here and chatting at you while I'm getting it set up, real quick. I know a short, quick little project that we can do. Don't mind me just trying to do things and talk at the same time, and it turns out it's hard. Today is, my goodness, May 2nd. By the way, Star Wars Day coming up. Exciting times. I don't know if anybody watching is a huge Star Wars fan. We are Star Wars fans in this house. Usually in past years, I've made sure to do actually a whole Star Wars piece to post. But I didn't have time with all the things that I'm juggling this year, unfortunately. That's okay. That's okay. I can still like Star Wars even if I didn't make a piece of fan art for it this year. Okay, fix that. That's good. And now I'm going to... Oh man, did Did I? It's all good. I'm gonna keep saying it. It's all good. What are my canvas settings here? 6 by 6. Okay. Okay. So this is actually a little thing. Okay, we can go back to art now. This is actually a little thing. I started a blank canvas. We started this up for, this is part of our graphic novel project. I don't want to give too much away about it, so I'm going to be vaguely mysterious. But I'm making a few little passport stampy like illustrations for use in a piece of it. So I've done a few. I think my favorite one I've done so far is this one. This is just a sketch, but so for Peru, and it's, you know, it's a llama, because who doesn't love a llama? I feel like that would be a great t-shirt. Who doesn't love a llama? But 2 L's in love as well. Anyway, so I've just got a couple more of these to do to wrap up. Trying to finish up a bit of it this weekend. So let's do Venice next. I think that's a good one. Nope, that was not what I was looking for. Just looking up some of our reference materials for the book. Making sure I'm getting my places right, but I do believe Venice is one that we spoke of. Cool. Okay. Yeah, so for this, I, you know, looked up some real and fake passport stamps. Just to get an idea of what is kind of done, and I've done a few. So we've got Peru, we've got, you know, Deutschland, we've got Germany there, we got France in there. So you generally have some sort of cool, you know, geometric-y shape with some sort of iconic thing inlaid. The real passport stamps don't seem to always have them from my research. I mean, I could have just looked at ours, but not a huge number of stamps in there, but a few. But you know, this is kind of what we're going for, this sort of feel. Something that could be like a stamp. Yeah, that's what we're going for. And I won't say for what, because again, mysterious. Alright, Venice. So it's gonna be a gondola, because, you know. Oh, hey, how's it going? String? Can I call you String? Is that good? Or do you prefer something else? And welcome on in. Good to see you tonight. Hope you're having a good night. Yes. Well, cool. Well, hello, String. Good to meet you. I'm Geoff, or Wags, whatever you want to call me. Yeah. Well, welcome on in. I'm just doing a little tiny sketch project right now for kind of my wind down my stream tonight, but you know what I didn't do is save my reference. So let me do that. Bring it up in sub view here. Oh, getting some energy to write some more? Are you Is it like school writing, or are you a writer? All right, so what shape do I want? I've done ovals, I've done circles. Where we want to go with this? Maybe kind of. Because I don't want to fit the long shape of the gondola in here. More. Something like this. Oh, you study journalism, so you write all day. But you really like writing in general and writing things to your girlfriend when you have free time. Well, very cool. That's awesome. That was very awesome, in fact. So when you are writing in your free time, is it so it's like creative writing type stuff? Nice. Very nice. Yeah, so I'm actually working on this project here is for a piece of art that I'm doing for the pitch packet for the graphic novel my wife and I are working on. So we're a creative team. We do kids comics. Generally do paragraphs inside of words. Interesting. Very cool. Well, I'm happy to have you in here. Cool. It's some of my favorite people are writers, so that bodes well for you. And let's flip this. The first word of every sentence spells something in the end. Oh, cool. So it's kind of like an acrostic, but instead of the first letter spelling a word, it's the first word spelling out something. Okay, nice. Wait a minute. Let's do it this way. Transform, flip horizontal. There we go. Move it like that. Just nudge it down ever so slightly. Oh wait, that's right, because that looks pretty good. Merge you down. Aw, I love that. The last one you did was with the first letter and it spelled "Still think home is with you." Oh, that's so cool. Well, also, I think it's super cool that you study journalism. I feel like that is something that is, good journalism is something that is very important, especially in our time. Yeah. Obviously, I'm a little more graphics oriented, but I do enjoy words and writing when I get the chance. Which is unfortunately not often, but yeah. What's the graphic novel about? Well, I'm trying to be super mysterious about it to everybody, but it's like a middle grade graphic novel, so like ages 9 through 12. I guess if I was gonna say anything, I would say it's about dealing with grief and honoring loved ones that you've lost. The genre is kind of, magical realism. Yeah, I really love the story. Ashley, my wife Ashley, came up with a really, really great story, and I love it. And we're working on all the pieces of a pitch packet now to get it out there and start looking for agents, which is then how you can get into for submission to different publishing houses and stuff like that. So we are in the process of it all and putting the stuff together to get there. Well, thank you. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so these things are pretty huge, and there's actually a little bit more curve to it as well, huh? Okay, let's do more like that. And continue the curve throughout. It really is just kind of like a long banana. I was thinking it was more flat-like, but no, much more banana-shaped. And that's okay. Right now I'm just kind of sketching these all pretty loose. Well, he's not wearing the hat. That's okay. All right. So we'll put the year. Looks like 2015. I think that's right. Yeah, 2015. That's right. Okay. Maybe do a little bit more scripty. Something more like that, yeah. Oh, next week you'll start your thesis and want to publish it as well. Write a short book about an AI program in charge of creating perfect sports entertainment that starts to take people captive in order to understand the feelings and emotions that make non-perfect sports perfect, and more like... You know what? It feels like a very appropriate topic for our time. Maybe I should separate these out on different layers. Yeah. Nope, that's maybe give it a little bit less angle. That's pretty good. And then I will... Oh, right. I was still gonna paste you into a different layer, wasn't I? I was. Okay, that's good. And also this guy. Okay. Now I've separated it out. Good deal. Since you're studying sports journalism, reflect on how important the human element is for the way we give information and see sports in general. Yeah. I mean, sports are an utterly human story, right? Like, when you think about all that, what makes the whole idea of sports exciting, is the idea of the adversity and striving for perfection in a world where we can't be perfect. It's so fascinating. Sports are modern mythology. Yeah, I think, we've got a really broad society, so I think some people might say like superheroes are the modern mythology in some ways, but I could definitely see sports, because you have literal fanatic dedication to them. You've got all of the debates about who's the GOAT in different sports, things like that. So what sports do you prefer to cover, out of curiosity? Maybe put like a bridge, a Venetian bridge somewhere in here. I could do that. Yeah, like this guy. Let's see. Can I open this in SubView? Is this format? It will. Excellent. This bridge. I choose this bridge. Follow MMA and soccer over every other, but you watch everything. Okay, cool. Maybe I'll drop down my brush size a little bit. I definitely had a time where I watched a lot more sports, and it's really declined quite a bit now. I mean, especially since we cut cable. It makes it a little bit harder. But I never got super into MMA during that time, or it came kind of at a time where I started watching less, so I never got super into it. Even though I do enjoy martial arts. It's interesting though. I think it is kind of, it's fascinating. I don't know how else to describe it. Oh, you like them because of how they started? Okay. How are they? Is there a similarity in how they started? I should have room for the railing. So I should really put it more at the corners here. I mean, I can't do this. There's not really room to do this intricate level of detail, but I can. Most MMA formats started in Japan from like 1890 till 1920. Oh, I didn't realize it had its roots so far back. That's cool. I can't approximate that level of detail, but I can give a vague sense that there's a smoothness and roundness to the design. Japan to have better life. Some of them traditional martial artists that made extra money fighting each other. Okay. I mean, that makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, so that's where the transfer started with Taekwondo, Karate, Judo, Kung Fu, Muay Boran, Muay Thai. Learning French. Wow, that's cool. I had no idea. Alright, and Venice. Just Venetia. Okay. Jiu-Jitsu was born. Boxing had the Asiatic boom. Well, I know that was one of Bruce Lee's whole things with inventing Jeet Kune Do, was to borrow things from, or not borrow, to kind of compile some of the most effective elements of all of these different martial arts forms. In like in his book about it, he specifically calls out like the kicks from Taekwondo, for example. Yeah, I've a very like fluid, quick style that was able to respond, and that was his whole thing, like the be like water. I was a huge Bruce Lee fan. Okay, this is pretty, okay, I like this one. I will, again, put you on a separate layer. That's not what I wanted to do. Why don't I just use my pen, man? Okay. Oh, so like the Muay Thai is one of your favorites to see? What what do you enjoy about it? Because it's strong and explosive. Yeah, that makes sense. I remember the oh my gosh, the old like kickboxer movies, like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Basically no defense, pull the goalie. Okay. Oh, that's a little skewed there. I can fix that. That's not bad. That makes a good passport stampy like thing. But such different trajectories. Like the angles that the attacks are at? So yeah, like watching a video on the kick mechanics, like specifically of Muay Thai, or just across martial arts. Muay Thai, and they're explaining how kicks where the knee is bent are more effective. Interesting. Yeah, this stuff is always fascinating to me. I could probably end up talking about this for hours. Because you can either go to the body or you can hyperextend in the hip and go up. Yeah? Yeah, so it gives kind of a last second change that you can make to react to your opponent. That makes sense. Yeah. All right. So I will tidy this up a little bit while I'm right here. And then that'll probably do it for tonight. I should label my layers, you know? Closer range opens up the chance to some elbows, yeah. And those are all pretty strong and solid strikes, really, if I'm not mistaken. Let's get this over. Yeah, okay, so move you there. Erase out a bit of the bridge. Then when I bring you over, won't conflict so much, and it kind of neatly frames the year in there. Cool. Okay. Not bad. So we're just around 12:15 Eastern time. About time for me to wrap things up. I know I like to do, this is the main piece we worked on tonight. I will go ahead and I like to do the time lapse part. So let's, hello OBS, what you doing? So this should show up now when I do time lapse. There we go. Anyway, yeah, so strings, this is one thing I like to do at the end. When I'm wrapping up for the night, I like to look over the time lapse of just see how I got to wherever I got in the piece I was working on. Yeah, and that is how we got there. Yeah. And then of course we hopped over to this guy. So, not bad. Not a bad night. So I'll hop on over here just to wrap things up. Yeah, it's been a good night. Finished out some stuff, got a little bit of odds and ends going, made some progress on the graphic novel stuff. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the progress tonight. Strings, thanks for coming by. It was good chatting with you. Hopefully I'll see you again. Anybody else that's out there and either watching live or watching the recording, thanks for stopping by. Always good to have y'all here. Always fun to do some art, and I appreciate the support. Even if that's just a lurk, I appreciate it. We are a lurk positive stream, as always. So I will be back next Thursday night, 10 o'clock Eastern time here in the States as usual. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great night and a great week. Yeah, that's it. Thanks again, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. you